Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Ward. I am a senior assistant dean in the Office of Undergraduate Admission at William and Mary. And the way this will work today for this international student panel, I have a few slides to present. And before I get to these slides, I do want each of our panelists to introduce themselves. So if you could please share your name and if you're a student, a class year, and a major, or what you're pursuing at William and Mary. And then if you are not a student, your title and what you do at William and Mary. So I will pass it off to Lauren, if you could introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Devan. I'm the International Programs Coordinator and Advisor in the Office of International Student Scholars and Programs. So I actually started at William and Mary in September last year, coming from another institution working with international students. And so far, it's been a pleasure to work with our international student population at William and Mary. I'm just so impressed by them. They are a very fantastic group of students. Part of my role is overseeing all the programming that we do for our students. So I got to be a part of our, albeit smaller, spring orientation for our new students coming in this spring. And then I'll be working on the larger fall one for all of you who are coming in this fall. And I'm just very excited to meet all of our students and help out in any way that I can.
Would our students like to jump in and introduce themselves? Sure, go ahead, Alyssa.
Yeah. So I'm Elisa. I'm a senior. I major in data science and business analytics. Um, yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And welcome to William Mary.
Hi everyone, I'm Leona. I'm also a senior. I'm currently studying Japanese and accounting. Feel free to ask any questions about that. I'm also in our school sports club if you guys are interested.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining today. So just to start off here, congratulations on your acceptance to William and Mary. That is such an achievement. And we're so excited to answer any questions you have about the university, student life, campus life, and then hopefully welcome you to campus this fall. And then in terms of just a brief overview of William Mary, because I know a couple students tuning in maybe have not had the chance to visit or really to dive right into the information about William and Mary. I do want to share we have 115 majors and minors. You actually don't declare a major until around your second semester sophomore year. So you have time to take a variety of different classes and then decide what you want to pursue. On the campus life side, we do have nearly 500 clubs and organizations to join. And within those, we also have club sports, intramural sports. We have also 23 varsity sports. We are a Division I school. And then in terms of other experiential learning opportunities, we are very strong in research opportunities, study abroad, and also internships. We have a fantastic career center that has advisors that can work with you to find those on-campus or off-campus internships. And then we also have an internship database that is shared with students. So even starting your first year at William Mary, you can look into those resources. In fact, the Career Center encourages students to look into what they have to offer and those resources they have to prepare students during their time at William Mary and after graduation as well. And then in terms of our international student community here, we have students from over 70 different countries represented in our student body. And then within that international community too, as Lauren mentioned, there's an international student orientation, there are activities, there are field trips, there are opportunities to engage with your fellow international students here on campus. And then in terms of one of those experiential learning opportunities I mentioned, that research here at William Mary, it can be a really strong pull for students because they can conduct research anytime and they can also be a published researcher by the time they graduate from William Mary, which is super exciting. And in terms of that mentored research, you might have a favorite professor that you can go up to after class and ask, hey, what are you working on in research right now? If they tell you, you can ask if you could join their team. You might even have a professor come into class one day and say, hey, this is what we're working on in research right now. I have a team going who would like to join. We also have 20 research centers across campus. The Charles Center is quite a big research hub. But please feel free to ask our panelists if they have any experience conducting research with a faculty mentor during their years here at William & Mary. And then we also are very strong for our undergraduate teaching. In terms of average class size, about 80% of our classes are under 40 students, and over half of our classes are under 20 students. So really nice class sizes here. We do have a core curriculum. Within this core curriculum, those classes are capped off at 15 or even 20 students max in those core classes. It's what's called our call curriculum. And you take about 8 call classes during your time here at William & Mary, so very manageable to fit into your schedule. Another opportunity to explore academics outside of the Williamsburg campus would be through our Washington Center. We have what's called our Study in DC program, where you can spend a summer term, semester long term, or winter break term in Washington, DC, in the heart of the city, and take classes taught by faculty there, get credit for those classes. And then if you choose the longer summer term or the semester long term, you also have a guaranteed internship with this program. So it is a very appealing program to many students across many different majors. Of course, it's quite popular among students in government, international relations, all of those related, also pre-law areas, but it is open to all majors across William & Mary. So any students can participate in the Study in DC program. But I want to thank you so much for joining us for this panel. So I will stop my screen share and just open it up to questions from everyone. Please feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So if you drop it there, I will moderate those questions. As you drop your questions in, I will ask our panelists those questions because we are recording this panel and I want to make sure everybody hears those questions that you have. So feel free to drop those in at the bottom of your screen. And then of course you can contact me anytime after today. My email is on the screen. You can also reach out to the General Admission Office at admission@wm.edu. But I'll stop my screen share right now. Please feel free to start dropping in those questions, but I do have a few prepared questions for us today. Can the students on our panel, can you speak to what you're involved in on campus and how you became involved in those extracurriculars? So those opportunities outside of the classroom, can you share those?
Alyssa, do you want to go ahead? If no, I can. So we have pretty much just as Caroline said, a lot of clubs, not only sports clubs, but also the social clubs on campus. In the beginning of the semester, each semester we'll have club fair, usually located in Kaplan Arena or Saller Center, which I think mostly when during orientation, the OAs will take you go through the whole campus and they will point to you like, hey, this is the time for you to go to club fairs. And mostly all of the social clubs and the sports clubs will be having a table in there. Feel free to talk to them. If you're interested, just sign up and then you can join as soon as you can. Besides on that, I think last weekend we just have our Day of Admitted Students, which if you are around Williamsburg, they also we're also doing tabling there that which just like basically showing you the whole campus and how the clubs are running in the school. Other than that, I feel like we are having like all the clubs are having events from time to times. If you're not able to go to club fair at the beginning of the semester, you're always free to join anytime during the semester when the events are holding, or just buying tickets, or just like pass by, say hi to everyone. We're very welcoming, so please do. Um, I think that's all my experiences for the clubs. But at least do you want to share any other extracurricular activities you've been engaged in?
Yeah, thank you so much for all the information. Yeah, I do have one thing to add maybe. So there are a lot of like categories like sports club and also career or job related or networking related clubs like consulting, finance, Hamilton Tech Meetup. There are also academic clubs like debate club, history, AI club, and so on, or Google Dub. software developer club, and so on. So there are a lot of options for you to choose. And I personally loved a TED Talk, um, helped to organize TED Talks and Hampton Roads Tech Meetup, which is like a platform to connect professionals with students, bridge the gap between academia and the real world. So yeah, lots of options.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. And our first question from an attendee, can you share whether orientation day is on August 22nd and what is the start and end time? So, Lauren, do you mind sharing kind of how orientation works, when it'll happen this year, and what does that look like for an international student, both the main orientation and international orientation there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, actually, new student move-in day for new undergraduate students is Thursday, August 21st, and then the main orientation for all students, I think, goes from August 22nd to the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. Our office does do optional in-person activities for our international students throughout that whole time span, August 21st through the 26th. So we'll do things like, take you to a local store where you can buy different essentials such as, linens, toothbrushes, any dorm items that you may have not been able to bring or you forgot to bring. We'll bring you to an international grocery store. We do have banks and cell phone companies come to campus so that you can set up a US bank account if you'd like, or get a US SIM card for your phone. We have social events and time to come meet our staff on campus for our office. But in terms of all those in-person activities that our office does during that time, those are optional because you do have required orientation activities to go through that the larger campus does for all students. So even though you're a new international student, you do have to attend the same programming that any other student would have to go to so that you can learn about like our honor code, I think other important topics around being a college student. Um, then, thinking about your major and what it looks like to start on your academic track. So they have a lot of really, really valuable things that are required for all students to go through. And since those are required, our in-person activities are optional. Now, we also know that you're coming into the campus at the same time all of the other new students are coming, and that there might not be extra time for us to tell our very important things that you need to know about being an international student at that same time. So for that reason, all of our required orientation programming for new international students will be virtual and will be held prior to that big orientation timeline. So we will have required orientation sessions that we do need every international student to attend. Again, those are virtual, but those will be held throughout the summer. I do believe we will have two of those events happening in July and two of those events happening in early August. So you can choose which one you attend. We don't have those dates published yet, but I am actually the one who is going to send you emails about all of that information. So you'll get an email specifically from me when we have those dates published and how to access those. So our required virtual orientation is about a 2-hour online program where we will talk to you about immigration requirements and what you need to do to maintain your immigration status while you're in the US, while you're on your program at William & Mary. And then we also have a session where someone from our counseling center on campus comes and talks about mental health and well-being and the services offered on campus for all students, including international students. We also have someone from our campus police department coming and talking about, how to stay safe and, be safe while on campus, which those are two things that happen during, I believe, regular student orientation, but we just like to come and make sure that, our international students are hearing about that. And then we also do a quick session about how to be successful in the classroom, what to expect in a US classroom, during our orientation. So, that's something that we absolutely want to set our students up for success. So we'll talk about that during our required virtual orientation as well. Thank you so much for that question.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing, Lauren. So the next question asks, do we have course credit limitations? What is the maximum or minimum amount of classes that can be taken per semester? So happy to kind of tackle that one just quickly. So the minimum credit hours William and Mary students can take per semester to be a full-time student are 12 credit hours. So typically most classes are about 3 credit hours. There are some that are fewer or a little more, but 3 credit hours. So that's 4 classes per semester. The maximum they can take would be 18 credit hours. So that's 6 classes per semester, maybe. That evens out to that. So you have to stay between 12 and 18 credit hours. If you do need to go above 18 or would like to, maybe there's a 1 credit hour course you want to do, you do have to get approval from the office of the university registrar. And then if you are a graduating senior and let's say you're going to wrap up and it's under 12 credit hours, that also needs to be asked by the university registrar. But you could take between 12 and 18 credit hours per semester. And then our next question asks about IB score reporting. So counselors and students are wondering, since final IB scores are released in July, do we require them to be sent in? So that's a great question. We do. We do require those to be sent in. Whether you're a partial or full IB student, we do require the IB scores to be sent in. But don't worry, we understand when they are released in July. Students taking A levels, those are also reached or released later in the year. So just whenever those are available, you can send those in. We will request those exam scores and those IB scores. So just be aware that when they do come out, please send that transcript our way. It can be sent to admission@wm.edu, so by email or by mail, whichever's easiest. Usually email is the best way to go, but we do still require those. And then our next question will definitely be posed to all of our panelists. It is the residence hall experience question. So when can dorms be selected and can students choose their own roommates? And just kind of going over what that experience is like. So I know for first year students, typically Residence Life does reach out over the summer to their William and Mary email address, and they'll reach out with forms to complete for their residence hall, and then they do get assigned their residence hall for move-in day when it's time to do that. So just be aware that summer leading up to this fall, you will get all your information about that. And then you can request a roommate. So if you know a friend or a classmate coming to William and Mary, you can certainly request them on those forms. But for our student panelists, can you all share your experience for your first year residence hall and what housing is like at William and Mary in that process, especially from that international student perspective?
Yeah, I can go first. If that's okay with Nella. Um, yeah, so you all receive an email and then you got to choose, well, you can choose your roommate or just put it like the system can choose one for you too. Mm, you will fill out a like a preference form, I believe. And but see, I found my roommate from some of the group chats, like Chinese WeChat group chat. And since then I've been roommate like she has been my roommate for 4 years, and so we really sort of get along with each other. So the freshman dorm, we do have AC. I believe some of the houses, I guess it's called the West College or West Living. It's under construction, and I guess it will be finished by the time you arrive. So some of you will be very lucky to be able to live in the new dorm, that which is very nice. Well, the other dorms are also fine, I think. Well, so, it can be hot in the summer, but we do have AC, so not super big of a deal. Um, yeah, you normally have two roommates. but I think there's also suite options. In that case, you'll be sharing a bathroom with three other roommates. Well, I mean, two rooms, but two roommates, two person in each room and sharing a private bath. So there are many options, and you can find more information. Sorry, more information on the website.
Great, thank you for sharing. Leona, do you want to share your experience and where you lived on campus, your freshman hall?
So for me, I lived in Botetourt complex when in my freshman year, specifically in Fauquier. That is very close to the campus dining. And I guess most of the freshmen lives there, so basically we can just hang out together because it's pretty close. I think there's another complex called GGV complex. I think it's under construction. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's also new dormitories like open, just as Alyssa said, close to that. So it'd be very convenient for freshmen after class. It's also close to our library, the Swan Library. You can just study at Swan Library, having lunches or dinners, caf and or hang out just with your friends. There's also a tennis court. And after 2 years, I think you can move off campus. That's what the time you already find your dorm friends if you have one, and then you can just like feel free to ask them. I just wanted to add on to what Alyssa said. I think as for suites, I know there's few special housing for language houses. So we have Japanese houses, Chinese houses, Spanish houses, and they are holding events from time to time in those dormitory. So basically, for those dorms, they might look a little bit fancier because they're more like they're founded by some of the programs, and then you guys can free to join if you're interested in one of the languages, and it's not like part of a requirement, but it's just like one of the options that you guys can do.
Great. And related to that topic, it looks like we got a question about the new halls being built or renovated. How many are there? So I can share for the dining and housing comprehensive plan happening. A couple new halls are being added, and then of course there are halls that are just being renovated. So the inside's being torn out and completely renovated, but that outer structure is staying. So some new halls and then some renovated include Cedar Hall, which will be on Jamestown Road. Then there's Old Dominion Hall, which is a renovated one. And then there's going to be the Westwoods 1 housing and dining, which I know one of you mentioned, and then Westwoods 2 housing. So those are just a few examples. But if you're interested in learning more, I will drop a link in the chat that shows you that kind of main site for housing and dining plan. So please check that out. I'll drop that link in the chat shortly. And then we did get some questions on how do first year students choose their courses? How do they register for those courses? So when do they do so? And do they work with an academic advisor for those? So Lauren, Leona, Alyssa, whichever panelist would like to take on this question, feel free to unmute.
I will pass this to the students actually, because I'm not quite sure.
I can go first. So currently we have a PAV registration website that specifically catered to like all the students. It will have very detailed assignings of what year you are and what majors you are. And the starts from the register period, you'll get emails from them. They'll say like, hey, your registering period starts from now, and then you just go into the website, find the courses you're interested in, and just add it to a cart. We no longer, so in the past years when we are still like freshmen, sophomore, we need to rush for courses because like it will be running out. People are just selecting them. But right now, it's like the system who prioritize like your priority of choosing the classes. So the system chooses for you instead of we rushing for them. And then after like all the periods ends, the systems will provide you with your results, and then you can just discuss with whatever your academic advisors or just major advisors about it. If you feel like you need override the course, if you need feel like you need to change the courses, as per as you like. But the that's like the general processes of um course registration.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. And then we had another question, a lot of ones about residence halls and room selection, but when will students be able to see specific room details for the new residence halls? So for that, I know there are some that are planned maybe for potential opening this fall, but our university will announce, and when they do send out those housing forms this summer, you will see the options where you could live. So you will be able to see what you can choose from. And then it looks like we have another question asking, can we speak to the advisor before the registration for courses? So yes, when you're told your advisor name and contact, you can certainly reach out, but would you guys like to jump in and share kind of that advising process a little bit?
Yeah, I can share a little bit. So I remember it was during orientation, you will have the first round of registration for your freshman classes, and you will have a day or a whole morning or afternoon designed for you to just ask questions with your major advisor, and you'll be able to set up a meeting. Your OA orientation aide will also remind you about that, and that's very important for you. So yeah, definitely you'll have the opportunity to speak to somebody who might help you. Oh, adding on to that, we
Yes.
also have peer advisor. I remember, like during orientation, they maybe in your major that you're interested in, or maybe not, but they can offer pretty good peer advising for you in terms of courses, like the workload, call curriculum, which class to take during that time or whatever. Yeah, so they can be very helpful.
Great. Thank you for sharing. And then we had a question asking, are there general assessment tests in the biology and physics department? So I know you might not be particularly in these areas, or if you are or know people who are in them, can you speak a little bit to those tests in the departments?
As for me, I have a few friends in biology major, but I never heard them talk about assessment. If it's so, I feel like they're probably target on specific courses. So I feel like generally no to the answer.
Yeah, I can add on to that. I took a bio intro class and the chemistry intro class. They are pretty hard. I mean, the biology one, because biology is sort of very popular when I marry, and yeah, it's harder, but there's no like test per se. It's just the course, the exams related to that course. Yeah, but it's also a good way to gauge your interest in that major if you really want to pursue that major.
Great, thank you. And then we had a question asking, how can I be sure the advisor is related to my field of interest and study? So, for everyone's information, when you come into William Mary, you come in undeclared, and you are given that pre-major advisor. Typically, the pre-major advisor relates to the academic area of interest that you assigned in your application. But that being said, when you are given your major advisor, when you declare your major, that major advisor is certainly related to your major area of study. So this might be a professor that you know really well, maybe who's your favorite professor of the department, or is the head of the department that you're studying in. So that's a little bit about how advising works, but I really appreciate peer advisors being talked about as well because our advising resources here at William Mary are so strong. We have advising not only for academic areas, but at that peer advising level, then we have career advisors, we have study abroad advisors. So on all levels, there's that support system for all students. And then someone asked, what are some cool clubs or activities that you recommend us joining? So I always tell students, look into that activities fair that I believe Leona mentioned earlier. So that activities fair is a great way to explore what William Mary has to offer. And you can certainly join that club that you joined in high school and really loved, or you can explore new options. But there's certainly no recommended path of clubs you have to take. Alyssa mentioned the TED Talk and other kind of networking type related clubs. There are club sports, there are improv clubs, there are 13 a cappella groups. So wherever your passion takes you is where you can pursue those clubs.
Could I also, Carolyn, jump in
Yeah,
and do a plug for
yeah.
the specific programs that our office does for international students? So for the fall, for new incoming students, one of the very first trips that we plan for new students is a day trip to Washington, D.C. on a Saturday. That one is very popular. We usually fill up the bus pretty quickly. So yes, that's usually in mid-September. We'll charter a bus. We'll take, international students and other folks in our international community up to Washington, D.C. for the day. I think in the past they have arranged like different tours or like specifically to drop you off at a museum that you can go to, but then kind of the rest of the day is yours to go and explore Washington, D.C. We do have some staff chaperones that are there with you, although you're not required to spend the day with them. They're just kind of there to offer some advice and some guidance, and you'll be able to get in contact with them via their cell phone if anything happens. But yeah, it's the time is yours to explore a really cool part of DC. But aside from that, throughout the entire each semester, fall and spring semester, we do different trips and events, both on campus and off campus. We do trips to international grocery stores in the Williamsburg area and a little bit beyond every month. We do fun kind of social activities. So I think this past spring, our student assistant who kind of works on some of those programs did like a Valentine's Day crafting and chocolate card making event later this semester. So there's a lake on campus where students really love to go kayaking when the weather is nice. So he's going to take different, people who sign up to do kayaking on the lake for free. We do different just social events kind of in our building where you can come and meet other folks in the international community. I'm trying to think if there's any other really unique ones that we do. In the spring, we also do another Saturday day trip to Richmond, which is a closer city and it's much smaller than DC, but I actually live in Richmond, so I'm partial to Richmond. I think it's a really fun, fantastic city, so you can go and sign up for the day trip there too. But to our students, if you have gone to any of ISSP's trips, events, or different programs that you really like, I would love for you to kind of just share that experience. Oh, and I'm sorry, one other thing that I did want to share as well is for new incoming international students, we do also have a program called the Global Friends Program. If you sign up for that, I think you'll get an email about signing up during the summer to your William and Mary email. You can get paired with a local family in Williamsburg. So it's kind of like an intentional friendship family where you can, they will host you, quote unquote, although you're not living with them, and kind of experience American life outside of a college campus and kind of see what it looks like from that end too.
Great, thank you for sharing. We had a couple more questions come in. So, the first question to pose to you all is, can you share from the student perspective some unexpected things that you experienced when you came to William Mary? This particular student is asking whether the testing is a little different. So, if you remember testing in high school versus testing in university setting, what's that like? What are exams like? And also, can you share whether William and Mary, there's like a high pressure to study and, a high pressure for academics? Can you kind of share that from the student perspective?
I
Oh,
can go. Or okay. Yeah. Exams are well, it depends on classes actually, and depends on like the level classes you're taking. Well, freshman, sophomore, you may have to take a lot of like core courses, and they have a lot of reading and writing involved. So yeah, so those ones they typically don't have exams, but they have writings and readings. And when you move on to junior or senior, some of the classes are much harder, like because they're the major classes, and but professors are very nice. You go to office hours, they're very willing to help you answer questions, and they also have TAs, so they can be very helpful. Um, what's the other question? The other question is about
Yeah, absolutely. So it was maybe something unexpected that you realized when you arrived to William Mary. So something you were surprised by,
mm,
or maybe
yeah,
you
maybe
knew exactly what to expect.
well, maybe you'll be very homesick at the beginning. That's what I experienced. But later on, you make a lot of friends, and people here are very nice. Professors, friends, even people you don't know. And yeah, that's one thing I sort of overcame. And yeah, started to make a lot of friends outside of my bubble or outside of my comfort zone. That helped too. Okay, Naona.
Yeah, I feel like Alyssa said a lot. Just add on to that. I feel like she's explained enough about the tests. Basically, because of the pandemic, right now professors are having two test systems. It's either in person with handwriting or is on the blackboard. And then if you're all multiple choices, it will shows up the exam results as soon as you finish them. But if like having short answers, they'll pop up after professors grade them. As for unexpected culture shock, I feel like it just when Mary provides us with a lot of studying abroad opportunities, which has really surprised me because I feel like we have like the top six of studying abroad opportunities in public schools. Many of my, because
Number
I've,
one, actually.
oh, number one, sorry. As
You're
in,
good.
yeah, because there was like in the Day of Mid Students, they have like a huge board saying all those like awards that William Mary had. I was just like I missed up them. But yeah, because I'm a Japanese major, so a lot of my friends, like my major friends, they just been studying abroad in Japan or Spain. I think German also. It just people like having so much opportunities to like being there and studying there for a while, just having little like culture experiences, add on to like what I've learned, no matter it's culture or just languages in the school. So I feel like it's really great experiences that William Mary provides for students. Even I think they have a lot of scholarships. So even though you feel like you cannot fully afford this trip, you can still ask assistance for major advisors or ISSP. I feel like they're very willing to help. Um, oh, as for domestically, I think we also have, just as Lauren said, the Washington, D.C. trip. I personally went to the winter seminar of that part. So it's basically, there will be a professor who leads you along the way to visit the DC and exploring DC stuff. We went to museums, we went to the White Houses, we went to like famous operas because our professor is extremely great. That will also be very good experiences if you like you wanted to just be there out there and you can receiving credits at the same time. So this is pretty much, I feel like I wasn't expected before I came here.
Thank you both so much for sharing your perspective there. We've actually had quite a few questions come in about dining. So can you share what do you think of the dining at William and Mary? And then we did get a question asking what are some recommended food places near campus, so maybe off campus. So just from my perspective, I know the student meal plan can be applied to some restaurants off campus. You know, there's Aromas and Retros, which has like diner food, and then there's Chick-fil-A and Wawa and all those places around campus. And then on campus, there's of course a dining hall, usually always within a 2 to 5 minute walk of every residence hall. But can you share what you think of dining on and off campus?
I have been, so for me, I have been off campus for 2 years and I'm off the meal plan, but I know like when you're on campus, the meal plan is kind of mandatory. So we have two dining halls on campus, majorly the Salary Center and also the campus dining. So for freshmen, you're probably closer to campus dining because that's like specific for catered to the freshmen. And when you're off classes, because that's like central campus, you might be close to Salary Center. You can just go there and have some food. I think in the basement of the Salary Center, there's also column 15, which you can just grab a sandwiches, smoothies, coffee there. And little off campus or still on campus, we have Starbucks just coming up. Um, like last year or year before that, and close to that is Wawa, and next to it is Chick-fil-A. It's very convenient, just like off the class, you want to grab a coffee, you want to just have a quick sandwich, grab and go. As for off campus, you can use dining dollars for Domino's. That's what I remembered. But you cannot use coupons if you don't use dining hall dollars. That's my experiences. Just like learn the lesson. Also we have the bake shop, and other coffee places. I think you can use the dining dollars. So it's pretty much very convenient when you use them, and it's tax free because you use them, compared to others who are not using dining dollars. But I think for specifically for Asian places, I know there's also like Oishi ramen places just close to the excuse me, the bake shop. So I feel like we wouldn't matter even though you're not that very close to campus, you have a lot of dining options if you don't want to have it in a dining hall.
So living off campus, you feel there's like plenty of offerings and food options, even when you live off campus versus on.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like you cannot compare it to New York because like that's really big cities, but I feel like it's really pretty adequate, like enough options for you if you wanted to just like explore all like kinds of cuisines and stuff.
Yeah, I can add one or two. Yeah, there are many options like restaurants outside of William Mary too, or near William Mary, because Williamsburg is a historical touring for tourists. So it has a lot of different options. I would say, well, yeah, down Richmond Road, you have Greek, Italian, French, and Chinese too. And also near, or maybe you can take the bus. Yeah, the bus system is very convenient. Around Winnie Mary, you can take the bus to the new town, which is like 2 minutes bus or 15 minutes bus. There's Thai food. There's also all kind of other cuisine or like Vietnamese food and so on. So definitely a lot to explore too.
Yes, definitely a variety for sure. And then we had a question too asking, are there any big stores or malls nearby? So I'm happy to share with everyone that there is a large outlet mall in Williamsburg. The bus can take you there easily, or you can Uber or Lyft or any other way. But the outlet mall is pretty exceptional here in Williamsburg. In fact, people come from out of town just to shop there. We also have, like Leona mentioned, we have Newtown, which has a lot of shopping areas as well, has a movie theater, has restaurants, a lot to enjoy there. We also have, big stores like Walmart, Target, and then a bunch of grocery stores as well. So there's plenty of shopping in the area, not to mention all the little shops in the Colonial area and in Merchant Square next door to campus that's walking distance away. So plenty to shop nearby. And then we had a question asking, would we describe William Mary as quiet and very academic, which is kind of the impression the student has. And they do hear that people are very nice on campus, but in terms of quiet and academic, we are academically rigorous. There's no doubt about that. It is an academically rigorous school. I think people think William Mary is quiet because it's not in some big metropolis city, a huge major area. But there is always something going on. This past weekend, there was the Second Sunday Arts Fair happening next door that happens every month. There's a farmers market that happens every Saturday morning. And then there are also lots of concert series and guest speakers. So there's always events happening on and off campus close by. And then in terms of the people are what make William and Mary great. Our community is certainly a super strong strength of the school. And when you visit campus, you can just tell the people want to be there. They want to be involved in this community and this culture at William and Mary. So definitely the people, and it is an academic school, but the people are what make William and Mary just amazing.
And I'll say that
Mhm.
the building that our office is in is actually right across the street from some really cute, nice shops that are off campus. I don't know what venue it is, but every day, like every week on a Friday, when the weather's nice, I'm always hearing like some music being played that we can hear in our office. So they've got like some music shows and things going on every Friday, every week. So, yeah, I think that there's plenty to do.
Wonderful. We have a couple more questions coming in. So we have a question asking, when is opening convocation? So opening convocation is a big tradition at William and Mary where basically the whole community gathers to celebrate the new students. And this happens on the very first day of classes after classes have wrapped up. Everybody gathers in the Wren Building courtyard. So opening convocation does happen on the very first day of classes. And then we had a question asking, can I skateboard on campus to get around? Is skateboarding allowed? As far as I know, you are allowed to skateboard within the bike lanes and around campus. That is possible. I'm not sure you can skateboard on the sidewalks, but there are bike lanes that go around campus and around the Williamsburg area. I have seen students use their skateboard. And then we have a question asking, what is the usual transportation on campus? So there is that bus system that was mentioned. There is a bus system that can take you around to your different residence halls and academic buildings around campus. You can take it for free with your student ID. It can take you to many, many different areas, and that's usually the mode of transportation around here if you don't want to walk or ride your bike. We do have an Amtrak train station right off campus, walking distance away. It is right next to the Williamsburg Public Library, so you can certainly take the Amtrak train station to explore the East Coast, to travel with your friends during break time. And so that's another way to get around as well. It does stop in Richmond, DC, Philadelphia, Newport News, Norfolk. It stops in New York City, New Jersey. There's even a train that goes all the way to Miami, Florida, but that is a long train ride, so just want to let you know. We also have three airports pretty much nearby. We have the Newport News Airport, we have Richmond Airport, we have the Norfolk Airport, and then we of course have the two DC airports, Reagan and then Dulles Airport. So a lot of our international students, faculty staff like to fly into Dulles, and then get transportation from there. Also, another great airport is the Richmond Airport. It's about 40 minutes away from campus. So there's a lot of ways to get around for sure. But Leona and Alyssa, can you share your experiences with the bus system or kind of getting around Williamsburg? Has it been a challenge? Has it been easy? Do you feel it's walkable?
I can go. Yeah, I took bus mostly during my freshman, sophomore, junior year if I wanted to, hang out with friends outside of campus. But because at that time we are living on campus and mostly you can walk from classes to classes. Yeah, it's a very pedestrian friendly campus. In terms of traveling, yes, the Amtrak station is right next to campus, which is very convenient. Like we go to DC. I've been to DC for so many times and just take the Amtrak, which would take you like 3 hours or so. So it's very convenient. And then you can also take Amtrak to New York, but that will be a bit longer. So many options. The airport near the campus, I would say it's the Richmond International Airport, which is like 40 minutes drive from here. You can always get a ride or just asking the group chat or Uber to there, which is close too. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing. So we have a question asking, are students competitive at William and Mary? And what's the overall environment like? They heard it's academically rigorous, so are students competitive? I know when I get asked this question, I always say, students are really collaborative and that kind of ties back to our opportunities given to undergraduate students. You know, they're not competing with one another to fight for these opportunities because there are so many opportunities available to students in internships, study abroad, research, classes and academic opportunities as well. So, how would you all describe the environment at William and Mary and our community? So, actually, let me reword. In 2 words, how would you describe the community at William and Mary? And this is open to all of our panelists.
Um, Again, like I said, I'm still new to William and Mary, and just from my perspective, I would say helpful. I get the sense that all of the staff and all of the faculty at William and Mary just really want to help both me as a new staff member and the students as well. I feel like if students come to our office with a question that we can't answer, but I know that the registrar's office could answer it, for example, I can just, reach out to the registrar and they are more than happy to help the students.
Um, I would say approachable and engaging. So approachable is for all the stuff I've been encountering to like during my 4 years of experiences. Like none of them would say no or like very reject just like, oh, you want to talk to me? No, I have a little bit like can we talk later or something like that. They're always there to help, just like Lauren said engaging for students because I feel like the people that I know of during the 4 years they found the things they are interested in and they're very into it, so people are very delicate to what they've been doing and they're willing to like spend a lot of time, sacrifice a lot of their energies, just like delve into that area, no matter it's academic or just like extracurricular activities. So it's like in generally, if you are incoming student, feel free to enjoy those opportunities and just like have fun with them and just like put yourself into it, enjoy your life.
Yeah, just one thing add to that. A lot of um for example, Leona and I are in the B school. In business school, we have a lot of presentations where group projects have to have a team work together. So it's very collaborative. And professors are very nice. Like if professors, they are very reachable outside of the classrooms. They invite us to dinner if we perform very well, or some professors are so nice, like they treat us so well, and yeah, we just become really good friends even outside the classroom.
Great. So we have time for the last question in our Q&A, and then I have one final question to ask you all, just from my side. So the final question from our Q&A, can you share as a student just a typical day during the week for a student? So maybe choosing a class day. What's that typical day like?
I I can go or okay. Yeah. So freshman, sophomore, I feel like pretty busy. Um, Although you only have like 4 or 5 classes, but well, it might because me, like I'm not super good at writing at that moment. So I have to take a lot of time, read and write. But yeah, so a typical day would say if you have morning classes, then 8 a.m. or 9, you have to wake up very early and get your breakfast. Hopefully, breakfast is very important. And then you'll go through the classes. You also have mostly time free in the afternoon if you don't like after 5 p.m. or after 3:20 if you don't have other classes after that. So you would you can hang out with friends a bit, or you can also just stay and swim and study with your friends too, or have group activities. Um, yeah, senior, junior, maybe a little bit different because yeah, different schedules. And senior as a senior, I still have a lot of classes, but some of my friends, their schedule is chill, like they don't have many classes left, so yeah, it's
Thanks
different
for sharing.
each year.
Leona, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would say like pretty much same as Alyssa. But as far as I know, many people after classes will probably went to clubs or events as well. Because I know all our Women has the AMP, which sharing all those kinds of like social events, concerts, movies after classes. So feel free to have those if you like you feel time and you feel energetic.
Great. Thank you for sharing. So my final question before we wrap up today, my final question for our two students would be, why William and Mary? Why did you choose William and Mary?
As for like for me, I can share mine first. It's kind of being a coincidence. Well, I am a parent trying to find a school with like pretty much high ranking in undergraduate teaching, and then here's William Mary. So, and then I applied for the decision and I got accepted, and that's end of my journey. But then after I being here, I feel like this is really my vibe of William Mary, then why it chose me at the time and why I chose to sit back. So William Mary in general, it's very welcoming and just was we all been saying like very warming society to being. Everybody has like a small community and we coming together as a huge community. So you're always been supported no matter like which groups you're in and no matter what who you reach out to. So I feel like in generally you don't have to be afraid or just be like dizzy when you're like stepping to the campus because everyone will be smiling at you and we are very willing to like be at your side whatever you need us.
Yeah, for me, I originally wanted to study international relations, which one is so good at, and all the government history majors, so close to DC and so many opportunities. But after I take one international relation class in freshman first semester, I thought I'm not the right person to study it anymore. So I changed my major. I explored so many different majors, like 15 majors, biology, chemistry, philosophy, you name it. Um, so Windermere is so flexible in terms of, um, you know, the rules or something like that for you to explore different majors. It's so easy to explore different majors and also switch to another major or, different courses. You can also switch your advisors. If you would like you find another major advisor, then that's pretty easy for you to switch. And they offer you so many opportunities to explore the thing that may interest you, but you never done before, like in terms of academic. They also have so many resources to support you to explore your academic interests, like research, the Child Center, uh, Caroline just mentioned. I and my teammates got over like about 10K grant from the Child Center to do a summer research related to hurricane, but was the VIMS, which is Virginia Institute of Marine Science, and to conduct research in Puerto Rico, for example. So they're so supportive. So come to William Mary, wanted to study IR, but after a switch and just realized there's much a bigger world too. And you don't have to stick with the original plan. So very encouraging here. That's why I love
That's
here.
that's great. Thank you so much for sharing your reasons. So if our panelists could drop their email in the chat at the bottom of the screen. So for those tuning in, if you didn't get all your questions answered or you would like to connect with our panelists after today, please feel free to save those email addresses that are being dropped in. I also put my email address next to my name at the top of the screen. It's caroline@wm.edu. So if you have any questions about the admission process or joining the William Mary community by enrolling, then please reach out to me. And then, oh, perfect. Thank you. Oh, it went to all the panelists. I'm just going to copy your email address and send it to everyone. There we go. So if everyone could just check out uh, the email addresses in the chat. You can reach out anytime to our panelists with further questions. But thank you all so much for tuning in today and learning more about William and Mary. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And congratulations again on your acceptance to William and Mary. Have a good one. Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations. Welcome to campus.
Congrats. Bye.